to be talking about Vibrations and Marauders in podcast form with Emma and several other people today. There's good about Emma, would you care to introduce your siblings?
Alright, so...
Okay, Rocky, you don't need to play. He just brought his
Rocky
toy.
is my oldest sibling. Anyways, this is Michael. He's the oldest. And then there's me. And then...
Elizabeth has always called me Swanky Town.
Yep.
And I don't want to, disrupt that tradition. So for today, I'm Swanky Town.
And then there's...
Nate.
Yeah, Nate's the youngest.
Okay, we always ask people's Hogwarts houses. You guys need to...
Oh, I know.
Get on that.
I'm a Ravenclaw.
You're a Ravenclaw?
I'm a Slytherin.
Ravenclaw.
I think I'm a Ravenclaw.
Yeah, okay, I feel like that's fair. Everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about fair. Emma, you have the questions today, so go ahead.
So, one of the questions, let's see, who is the favorite?
Definitely
I think we
Emma
know.
or
I
Nate.
think it's definitely
So
me.
it's Emma, absolutely.
Not
Not really even
us.
close.
Not us.
Not them.
So, the child ranking is Emma, not Nate, Hercules,
Hercules.
our dog, then Nate, then Sarah, then me. But over quarantine for a little bit, I think me and Sarah switched, but I think we're back
That
to
was-
people liking, my parents liking Sarah more.
Oh my
I
goodness.
Yeah.
don't agree with that.
What would you say?
I think it's Emma, me, and Herc, and then Michael and,
And then
Sarah.
you two.
Either way, me and Michael at the bottom.
Me and Nate are top tier, and then we don't
No,
talk about
there's
the
this
rest.
meme. I wish I could find it,
It's
but
funny.
our aunt made it, and it's asking our parents who's your favorite sibling, and it's just a picture of Emma and Nate standing there, and then Hercules in the very back of the picture, and then me and Sarah
you,
are
zoom
photoshopped
in.
really small in the very back.
Your aunt made that?
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
In my opinion, Swanky Town is superior because she let me call her Swanky Town for why? Why did I even start doing that?
I don't know. One time you texted Emma and you were just like, what if I called you Swanky Town? And I was like,
Okay. Yeah, that's the whole story. So that's why I think that Swanky is the best sibling. No offense to anybody else. You know.
Right, someone has to think that.
Yeah.
Bottom tier.
thanks.
So mean, Michael.
I feel so loved.
What
Do you like sushi?
They don't.
Michael does.
I love sushi.
I like it a
And
little bit.
I took them there when I got my mission. Do they know about missions or whatever?
You can tell.
Basically, I leave to work for the church for 2 years, and so when I found out where I was gonna go, I got to choose whatever dinner I wanted to go to, and so we went to Sushi King, and it's all you can eat, and they ate probably 2 bites each of
Oh my
sushi.
god.
I ate
sushi.
I ate sushi. They ate nothing. I ate a little.
No.
No,
I ate
Nate
some.
tried more than people.
Yeah, right.
Do you want to do one more?
Yeah, we could do that one.
Favorite school subjects?
My favorite subject was gym, for sure.
Of course it
Didn't
is.
you take advanced gym?
I did. I took advanced gym twice. My junior and senior year, I took all APs except for gym.
AP gym.
So was it-
AP.
Is it awkward? AP gym, that would be really fun.
You would have been in it.
Oh, if you
Yeah.
don't,
I thought you were going to say
if you're not
history,
from the
but-
U.S., AP means advanced placement. A lot of people don't know that. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. But in actual subjects, my favorite subject is history, and I think I'm gonna major in history in college. So
Have fun.
My favorite has been American Sign Language or just art classes. Those are really fun.
Not to be a nerd, but I really like band, so...
I thought you were gonna
That's
say
where
math,
I'm
and I was
at.
like, what?
Yeah.
No.
No, but band, yeah, it's a solid. It's
I have
class.
been
It's a
doing
class.
music since I was 4.
from my mother.
From
taught
your
you.
mom, yeah.
Mhm, my mom is
Mom.
extra cool.
My favorite subject is history.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite subject is also history. Except also chorus. I guess that kind of is a class, so maybe I should say that.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that you all had that strong opinion.
Yes.
Even Hercules likes it.
A lot of people are gonna fight you for that. I'm not.
Sorry.
I'm kind of
It's
different.
good.
I'm-
Pizza's good. Pineapple's good.
They're both so good.
Okay, yeah, I can eat pineapple on pizza. It's not my favorite, but it's a solid option. But whenever I say that, people are like, "You are the worst person I've ever met in my life," and I'm like, "Really?" Okay, so yeah, that's kind of interesting. Emma, I'm taking the mic that you usually have, and I can confirm that it's like the worst mic ever, and I'm really sorry for doing this because it just all the time,
Do
all
you
the time.
usually sit there?
Like we
usually sit
both
right
sit
there.
on the couch.
The beanbag is
Get with the
usually not
podcast,
here.
Michael.
I think Michael is a fake fan of the podcast. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Do
another
you know
thing.
who is not a fake fan of the
Who's not a
podcast?
fake? Your dad.
Our dad.
Your dad. Your dad loves
He
the
was
podcast
upset
so
he
much.
wasn't
He
asked
was
to be
so
on.
sad he couldn't go. In his words, he wasn't mad, he was just disappointed.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad. Then don't work. Okay.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh yeah. Another thing that people wanted to know is like, yeah, do you guys like listen to the podcast though? Like that's just something
I
that people
do.
want to know.
So-
Yes.
I'm like more than halfway through. I'm
So
not all the way caught up,
Swanky knows, but you two don't.
So
right?
this is what happened. I told Ellie this story yesterday. I commented on is either her Instagram or her spam and was like,
Yeah.
please drop the link to the podcast. And no one dropped the link to the podcast.
It's in my bio though.
If she had dropped the link to the podcast, I might
would have
still
been the
not
number-
have listened
you
the entire
definitely
way
still
through.
would not have listened
But I
to
would have
it.
listened to like a good amount.
You would have listened
Sure.
to like at least one.
Yeah, you would have listened to one episode. All right. So, are we ready to start? We ready to jump in to the story?
I'm ready.
Okay. So, this is episode 17. We're having a good time. And then okay, so I started this off by being like, okay, so you remember how this is a school? Because I feel like in the past couple episodes, we have not been focused on academics in even the tiniest bit. It's been very dramatic. But now we're gonna get back into like classes and like kind of normal school life here, you know. But anyway, so then the Marauders, they're chilling in their dorm room as they should.
Just hanging
But
out.
the others are like, okay, Remus, here's the thing. You've been a prefect for like almost a full year at this point. This is the end of their 5th year. And they're like, you really have been so lame the whole year.
Wow.
They're like, you just have not been doing anything.
They have to like sit him down and they're like, Remus, you're kind of lame.
Literally.
Sorry, but
They're like, okay, you have like not been participating in like the pranks and stuff. He's like, I'm a prefect. I feel bad about doing that. They're like, okay, but you've told us several times that you do not want to be a prefect next year. And he's like, that is true. And they're like, so do a prank. Do something big so you don't become a prefect again. And he's like, I should have thought of this well before now. So, you know, they've decided that like, okay, they're going to do it. He's going to do something great. But then he's like, okay, like what are you guys thinking? Like what prank
what's
do you
the
have in mind?
plan?
And they're like, oh, we don't have one. They're always better when you come up with them. And they're like, we haven't had a good
He's
one.
like, what's the plan? And they're like, that's your job.
And they're like, the plan is that you come up with something. But they're like, the best ones are like when you do stuff. Like, you know, remember when you set the entire Forbidden Forest on fire last year? That
The
was
best
so
prank
cool.
is your authentic self.
Yes. No, but they're like, remember all of these different things that he did and everything like that. And they're like, you, the only good ones happen when you plan them from beginning to end. And Remus is like, okay, let's do this. I'm gonna start thinking of something, but it's gonna take me a couple days because I can't just like pull this out of
Yeah.
my butt. You know, that's not something that happens. So you know, let's take a couple days. Later, Remus is in the library and he's like. He's in full scheming mode here. He has like books all over this table and he's like looking for like spell ideas or something that he can do and just trying to come up with stuff. And eventually a little person named Lily Evans wanders into the library and she sees him and she's like, oh no, why is this happening? So she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm just researching, you know? And she's like,
That's suspicious.
She's like,
getting that education.
yeah. She's like, you're researching. And he's like, yeah. She's like, well, can I help you research? Or like, and he's like, maybe not. And she's like, well, are your like friends about to come by? Because like, I don't want to be seen by them or anything. And he like, the map is open on the table and he like looks at the Marauders map and he's like, Yeah, you can stay though because like nobody's around here. And then she's like, okay, what is this map? And she like picks it up, and he's like, no. And he does like the whole mischief managed thing, and he clears the map. And she's like, dude, what the heck? And he's like, yeah, you're never ever gonna find out about that. And she's like, dude, I thought we were like friends. And he's like, no, we're not friends like that. She's like so offended.
Wow.
She's like, literally, after everything that we've been through. But yeah. So she's like, you know, she tries to like figure out how to open the map and everything like that, but that doesn't work, obviously. But it doesn't talk back to her yet. They haven't figured out how to add that part into the map yet. So it's just blank. You know, we'll have
The librarian walks by and she's just yelling
She's
at
like-
an empty piece of paper.
she's like open. But yeah, anyway, back to the whole like, what are you researching? And he's like, I'm researching something. That's all you need to know. And she's like, what are you researching? He's like, I don't know, spells, potions, general ways of starting commotion. She's like, oh my gosh, you're doing a prank, aren't you? And she's like, that is not happening. And he's like, maybe it is, you don't know. And she's like, I thought you were so much better than this. You're a prefect. He's like, I'm so sorry, Lily. I hate to tell you this, but I literally hate being a prefect. It's literally so bad. He's like, I hate that the little children look up to me and like want to know what to do. Like, I would literally rather die. He's like, I hate everything about it. And he's
Keep
like,
in mind, Lily is also a
yes,
prefect.
they're prefects together. They're like supposed to. They're friends because they are prefects. But he's like, I'm sorry, but I hate following the rules. I'm just so.
He's too edgy.
He's too edgy for the
Such a
rules.
bad boy.
But yeah, he's like, I'm not even gonna hide the fact that I'm doing this prank because I want to be caught. I want to not be a prefect again next year. And for the first time, Lily's like, oh, wait, I would, like, miss you, like, not being a prefect. And it's like, aw, because, I don't know, their friendship has been...
Difficult.
yeah, I mean, but she was like, oh, dang, like, I would actually really miss that, but, like, she's not gonna show that, but anyway, but he's like, no, is that, like, not what you expected me to do? Like, this was the plan all along, and she's like, no, I'm just really concerned for what you're planning. And she's like, just don't do it this Friday because who's my dog barking at? What the heck?
Whoa.
But anyway, she's like, don't do it on the Friday. The first years have their like mock practical exam and like they're gonna be stressed out of their minds. Can't do it on a Friday. And he's like, oh, I was already like not gonna do it on a Friday. She's like, oh, you remembered. And he's like, no, but there's also the final Quidditch match on Friday. Like, and James told me that I'm not allowed to do it then. So yeah, Lily's a little disappointed. Anyway, so we're back in the dorm. And it's the boys plus Marlene and Dorcas, because now they're, like, kind of in this group now. If you don't know who Marlene and Dorcas is, it's really not that important. We're just gonna keep on going. But, they kind of remained since Peter and Julie broke up, like, you know, they kind of still stayed friends with them, even though a lot of other people weren't. And Bonnie Jordan is usually there too, but she is a prefect, and they were like, you're not allowed to be in this meeting. And she's like, isn't Remus a prefect? And they're like, you can't be in here though. And she's like offended. Anyway, but they're all sitting there and they're like, Remus, tell us your idea. We are all so ready. And he's like, I don't have a full idea yet. And they're like, we are still ready. But anyway, Remus is like, they're like, what have you been thinking? And he's like, okay, so I'm thinking usually we do something when we do a big prank like this. It's like, we change all of the portraits inside the castle, or we set the forest on fire, or something like that. They're like, we do something to the outside. They're
just
like,
do every day.
yeah, it's just what they do, you know? But he's like, I think this time we have to do something to the entire student body as a whole. And they're like, what? And he's like, I feel like we can do it.
They killed Dumbledore.
Wow, no, that's a real prank. That's when they could get Snape involved.
That is for a loop.
That's not what they end up doing.
Wow,
I hate to
really?
say that. But in the previous episode, James and Sirius did a thing where they changed the students' skin to be like purple and like color changing, like depending. They played hot and cold with like skin, and if you were like close to the object, your skin turned red, and if you were far away, it turned blue. And so he's like, I'm thinking we do something like that. And James is like, I have an idea. He's like, what if we did it where where it was that same thing, except it was like when you get close to like your crush,
Oh
like you
my
turn
gosh.
red or something. And everybody in the room was like, that's literally the worst idea I've ever heard in my entire life. But like especially Sirius and Remus, because like they're like, maybe that's not good. We're gonna backtrack. We don't love that. But anyway, so then they're on to more ideas. Oh yeah, but James is thinking, Sirius is immediately like, let's not do that. That seems like a terrible idea. And James has it in his mind that Sirius has a crush on Marlene, and it's just not true. But he's like, he just still doesn't want Marlene to know. That's the reason he doesn't want me to do this terrible
James
prank.
Literally like tell Marlene?
He told Marlene.
Wow.
Marlene already knows about this, and they already both know that it's not a thing. But he's like, man, Sirius just really likes Marlene. Anyway. But Remus is like, no, I'm thinking we could do something like, what James did like earlier in the year with Snape, where like if Snape said something, then it would set it off. So like, what if we did it in the opposite way, and you could only get rid of like weird skin colors by doing or saying something specific.
Mm-hmm.
So like everybody has to do or say something. And they're like, that's great. We should do it different things for different houses.
Oh, no.
So, and this is eventually what they come up with. So for Gryffindor, in order to stop being this random color, they have to just not say anything for 24 hours, because that's the real challenge for Gryffindor, is just to shut up. And then for Ravenclaw, they decided that they couldn't think of anything. They're like, what are we going to do? Take away their books?
Oh, I thought you were saying the Ravenclaws just...
No, they just couldn't think of anything. No, but they're like, what are we going to do for the Ravenclaws? Like, take away their books? Like, that's not interesting.
Yeah.
That's not anything. So they're like, what if we make them just learn how to, like, pet, and they have to pet a real raven? Like, we get a real raven, and they all have to do it, or else they'll keep on just doing that. So... but they're like, how are we going to get a hold of Raven? And Marlene is like, don't worry, guys.
She's like,
I got this. Just nobody's allowed to ask me how or where I get it. And they're like, okay, Marlene, go ahead.
All
Go
right,
ahead
then.
with that. That's fine. And then the Hufflepuffs, they decided that the Hufflepuffs have to all go together and create some choreographed dance, and they have to perform it by the end of the night, like the entire house, or else none of them can do it. But then they're trying to figure out the Slytherins, and they're like, oh, we want to do something with the Slytherins. And they're like, they want to think of something funny, but they're like, we can't do anything like really bad, because like, we don't want to literally get in so much trouble for this. So they're like, you know what? We're just going to tell them that they have to come up to one of the four of them and tell them that they love and appreciate them, regardless of their differences. And that, yeah, they love and appreciate them. And every single Slytherin has to come up to one of them and say that, or else they will be permanently this random color that they decide.
I feel like this is gonna be more of a punishment for like the Marauders, because
No!
they're just gonna have like Slytherin first years like, I love you, James.
I love you and appreciate. No, but can you imagine Snape having to go up to them and be like, "Listen, guys, I love and appreciate you, regardless of our differences." Like that would be hilarious. He's like, oh my goodness. They're excited for that. But anyway, the next couple of days, they're like,
I'm excited for the Hufflepuff.
I know, they're gonna do a whole performance. Anyway, so the next day, everybody's like researching, like they're trying to figure out how to do this, because how on earth are you gonna like put
Get
this spell
everyone,
on
yeah.
like literally everybody in the entire castle? So they're like figuring out all of these things.
Is it like on the teachers too?
No, they decided to not do it on the teachers because that would just be a bit much, and they don't want to literally get expelled. But McGonagall is just getting a little nervous because she's like, they're all like studying and everything, and she's like, what is
up?
She's like, it's gonna happen. She's like, they did a wholesome prank last time. I'm not expecting a wholesome prank again. I'm a little concerned. What is gonna happen here? And also, James and Marlene are not like spending every spare minute on the Quidditch field, which is weird because literally the Quidditch Cup is like coming up, and they're like, what is happening here? Everybody's nervous. Everybody in the school is like, they're doing something. But yeah, like Dorcas suggests, she's like, okay, what if like the clouds in the ceiling of like, of the Great Hall, she's like, what if we enchant them to then like rain something on everybody so that the spell works and everything like that. They're all working together. They're all going to figure it out. they like have to test on each other to figure out like the different how to like do the different conditions, and like maybe James had a green face for a while, you know, maybe some things
Maybe
happened.
Sirius and Remus did a dance.
Maybe.
Marlene's got her raven.
Yeah, Marlene's like, let me pet this raven, guys, it'll be okay.
She's just like walking around the couch.
They're like, where did Marlene get a raven? I thought you could only take owls here. But yeah, so it's tough, but they also have to make it so that it's like, this spell cannot be broken except for by doing this. Like, no matter if they go to Madame Pomfrey, like anything like that, there is literally no way to get rid of this unless they do what they want them to do. It's honestly really terrible, but like I feel like it's funny.
It's fun.
So we're gonna keep on doing it. But yeah. Anyway, Friday is Quidditch Day. Very exciting. James and Marlene are finally like actually practicing, and the reason they weren't is because they're like, it's against the Ravenclaws, and like, no offense to all of you that are Ravenclaws, but they're like,
wow.
The
They're
heavy
like-
majority.
they're like, I feel like we're gonna win. Like, it's gonna be fine. Again, no offense to the Ravenclaws, but they're just like, it's gonna be fine. But Sirius, if you've been keeping up with the podcast, which I know most of you have not, Sirius recently got kicked off of the Gryffindor Quidditch team.
Oh, I didn't know that. Spoilers.
I'm so
Wow.
sorry. That's what you get for coming on the podcast, okay? I'm gonna have to spoil some things for you. But no, he got kicked off of the Quidditch team, and it's very sad. And he got like replaced by like this random kid in like a year below them. He's not very happy about it, but he's also, because it was definitely his fault that he got kicked off. So he's like trying to like, you know, be all good. He's like, what? I'm just here to support my friends. And like, I'm excited. And like, I love just watching Quidditch. It's my favorite thing.
It's his passion.
Yes. His passion is watching other people play Quidditch. Yeah, that's it for sure. But Remus is like not buying it. He's like, dude, like, I know you're upset. What are you guys doing with the stuffed animals? I keep on just looking over and you guys are just passing them around. But you know, he's trying to, you know, be chill. He's like, oh my god.
Be chill.
Be chill. Oh my word. If you're not watching on YouTube, they're just passing around the stuffed animals. But anyway, Sirius is like, I'm totally fine that I'm not playing Quidditch. It's like fine. And Remus is like, is it fine? He's like, no, not really at all. I really actually in fact hate it. But you know, it's all good. But he's, you know, and they kind of talk about that and they relax or whatever. And then Sirius is like, but you know, there has been a plus of me not going to Quidditch practices. And he's like, oh, what's that? He's like, it's that James keeps on thinking that I like Marlene. And he's like, and she's on the team. And like, it's been so frustrating because literally every time I was there, he like tried to set us up and like try to get us to go off and do things together. And Remus has not heard about this whole situation. And he's like, are you joking me? He's like, this can't be real. And he's like, no, it's real, but don't worry, tonight we're gonna fix it. We're gonna get this dramatic ending to happen.
They've like
And
rehearsed
Remus is like,
like
no. Oh, they have. Oh, they for sure rehearsed a fake like breakup situation. It's going down. But anyway, the Quidditch game happens. It's amazing. It's fantastic. The Gryffindors win because again, it's Ravenclaw. I'm sorry again. But
If I
like,
was on the team, I would have won.
that's true. If any of you guys were on the team, you probably would have won.
Especially
let's be
Nate.
honest here. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nate.
Nate would be like a beater though. He would knock everyone out.
I feel like that's fair.
That doesn't seem like
Or-
Nate.
Yeah, it does not.
Yeah. But anyway, at this party, James is like, guys, I think this is the night that Sirius and Marlene should get together. I'm really feeling it. And so he's like, you know, getting them both like, I don't know, butter beers or something. And he's like, here you guys go. Wow, look at you. And they're like so fed up by it. But anyway, but eventually Sirius like quiets everybody around them. He's like, guys, I have something important to say. It's the middle of a party. He tells everybody to shut up. He's like, guys, this is very important. And he's like, Marlene, I have something to confess to you. And she's like trying not to laugh, but she's like trying to keep composed. And this is very rehearsed. Like, it's very obvious, except to everybody, except for James. James is, like, invested in this
He's
story.
buying it all.
He's like, wow.
They planned it for James.
They literally did. And he's like, Marlene, I have something to say to you. It's very important. Marlene, I think I'm in love with you. And I think I want to be with you. And everybody's like, this is fake. This is for sure fake. But James is like, oh my gosh, guys, it's happening. He's so excited. But then Marlene is like, Sirius, I'm so sorry. I really don't feel the same way. And James is like, no, like, this is not happening. She's like, in fact, I have feelings for somebody else. And they're like, he's like,
James is like,
I know, James is like, I think James asks who before Sirius does. He's like, who could you possibly be in love with? And then the other beater from the Quidditch team, the one that wasn't Sirius, steps out from the crowd.
his replacement.
Yes, steps out from the crowd and is like, it's me. It's been me all along. And Marlene's like, yes, I'm in love with you. And, like, they just, like, go off together and stuff, and Sirius pretends to be all sad, and, like, Remus is, like, trying not to laugh. And James is devastated. He's like, I am so sorry that this happened to you, Sirius. And Sirius is like, it's fine, it's whatever. And, like, Sirius goes upstairs to, like, the dorms to, like, you know, recover, to calm down. But James goes up with him, and then eventually James comes downstairs, and then Remus is, like, goes up, and James is like, he wants to be alone. I wouldn't go up there if I were you. And Remus is like, I'll just check in on him. And he goes upstairs, and he, like, goes into the dorm, and he just looks at him, and they just both start laughing so hard, and they're like, what the heck? And he's like, how did you get that other dude, like, involved in this? And they're like, he was sick of it at Quidditch practices too. Like, everybody was just so tired of it. And so we just did it, and he was, like, fully ready to commit. He's like, they're gonna fake date for, like, 3 weeks, and then they're gonna break up.
Wow.
And we've already planned
They're
this
having
whole
another
thing.
rehearsal.
Long time.
Yeah! But, like, they gotta make it believable for James, right?
Dude, I don't think you have to make
It's
it
not
that
hard to
believable
make
for
it
James.
believable to
I don't know. Maybe it's just, like, for 1 week. They're just, like, they pretend to date for a solid week, and they're like, we're done. But he's like, yeah, they're just, like, absolutely losing their mind. And Sirius is like, when James was up here, he's like, it was so hard. He's like, I had to, like, hide my face in a pillow and, like, just laugh. But, like, he thought I was crying type of thing. And, like, it was just a whole thing. But, yeah, he's like, I can't believe that he believed that. And Remus is like, after that performance, I can't believe anybody believed that. Like, that was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. But, yeah, so that's kind of fun, kind of funky. We love a good Sirius and Marlene situation. Yeah, so are we ready for the prank? Are you excited?
I'm ready for
Yeah.
the Raven.
Yeah.
You're ready for the Raven?
I'm ready for the dance.
The dance is the best part for sure. So it's been a couple days, I think, or maybe it's not. I don't know. I feel like it's the Sunday. I feel like it's the Sunday after this thing. So they've been preparing. They know what they're gonna do. They're all, like, stressing out that it's not gonna go well, but they're also very excited. And so breakfast is at first going normal. They wait until, like, literally everybody is in there, and they're, like, watching on the map. They wait till everybody is in the Great Hall, and then they do it. And Dorcas, like, makes her clouds start, like, raining, I don't know, magic or something. And, like, it's specific clouds over specific house tables. And then everybody starts turning colors. And now they really committed to this. They just, oh, Swanky.
They're just so soft.
I know, they're great, aren't they? Everybody's just playing with my stuffed animals. I like it. Except you're hoarding them. You're not allowed to hoard them.
I didn't
Oh
want
my-
to make a ruckus.
It's fine.
I don't want to make
gosh.
a ruckus.
There's literally a pillow fight happening here. This is great.
This is what ruckus would happen if I didn't.
Anyway, but they really committed to these colors things, because not only are they just, it's not like they're turning random colors, they're turning the colors of their houses. So it's like the Slytherins turn, like, silver and green stripes.
Wow.
And it's just so tacky and terrible, and it's, like, literally the worst thing you've ever seen in your entire life. And also their hair is included, like, you know, they're just, it's a full look for all of them. So yeah, and all of the Hufflepuffs just look like bumblebees because they're just yellow and black stripes. It's horrible.
And these are like very little stripes, so it's like just a gross mess.
Honestly, it might be different for everybody. It's like depending on I don't know, your mood. It's like the stripes. I don't know. It's something. Also, the Marauders are included in this. Like they're gonna have to not talk for 24 hours, in order to stop it.
Obvious,
But they're
the fact that the Slytherins have to go up to them.
Yeah, but they're like, listen.
Yeah. In that case, just don't do it on yourself.
Listen, they wanted to be included. Honestly, they just wanted to be red and gold for like a long time. Like they don't stop. They keep this for several weeks. Like they just want to be red and gold for a while. It's just the vibe. But yeah. So, but while everybody's distracted because everybody's changing colors, Remus casts a spell, which like, you know, on like the front doors that like it gives all the instructions for everybody. Like now the instructions are written on the door of how everybody can get rid of this. And it's written in like bad poetry style. It's like
a riddle.
Yeah, it's like a terrible riddle. I was going to write it, but then I ran out of time. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so nobody's noticed the doors yet. Everybody's just focused on the fact that they're literally just
I feel like
changed colors.
That would be like pretty.
Yeah, they're a little worried.
Yeah.
And the Marauders are all just watching them, and they're looking around at everybody, just absolutely losing their minds. And then they finally look up at the teacher's table, and all the teachers are losing their mind too. They're like, what is happening to our students? And then, except for McGonagall, and McGonagall is just staring them down. She just already knows that it's them. She's like, literally, why is it always you guys? Can it just ever be anybody else? But they're the only ones not freaking out, so it's very obvious that it's them.
And also their names are on the door.
Yeah, that's also true. But finally, once Remus notices her, she like walks up to them and she's like, okay guys, let's cut the BS here. How do we get rid of this? And she's like, I've known you guys long enough that like no matter anything that we do isn't gonna work. It's only gonna be one way for us to get rid of this.
And then they just start spouting poetry.
No, but Remus is like, I have no idea who did this, but you might want to look at the door, you know? And she's like, oh my gosh.
It's like signed with his name.
Yes.
I have no idea.
No, but you know, she goes up to the door and she's like, oh my gosh. But anyway, so then everybody starts to crowd around the door and like figuring out what they have to do. And the Ravenclaws are like, where on earth are we supposed to find a raven? And then there's a caw from the entrance hall. And they just look outside and there's just a raven there. And they're like, I guess this is what we're doing now. Marlene is very proud of herself. She's like, I got the raven. The Hufflepuffs are like already starting to choreograph stuff. They're like, okay guys, so what do we want to do? We want to do a step touch situation? Like we're doing like a cheerleading
together.
Yep. I'm trying to think what was like prevalent in the 70s. Like what would they be doing?
ABBA? Were they around?
Yes, they were like, let's do it to ABBA. But then finally, like, one of the professors, probably like Professor Sprout or like a sensible one or something, is like, guys, we don't even know if this works. Like, this is just written on the door. We don't even know if this is like happening yet. And everybody's like, well, there's no way to find out unless we try. And then Slughorn's like, okay, guys, my house is clearly the easiest. Like, should not be a trouble for anybody. So somebody from Slytherin needs to test it and see if it's gonna work. And everybody from Slytherin is like, there's no way I'm doing this. There's no way I'm getting up in front of the entire school and telling one of these people that I love them and appreciate them. But finally, like, I don't know, like, yes, a prefect, like, Slughorn forces a prefect to do it because, like, they're the only ones who will listen. And I think it's, like, I have a name for all of these people. I think it's Aisha Simmons is who I chose for this. But it's, like, she's the prefect in their year. And, she goes up to them, and, like, James is absolutely so happy. But she comes up to James, and they're just standing there, and everybody's watching, and everybody's silent, and she's like, James Potter, I love you, and I appreciate you, regardless of our differences. And James is like, thank you so much. I am so grateful. He's like, I love you too. This is so great. And she immediately, stops being green and silver and everything. And everybody's like, oh my gosh. They start losing their minds. And everybody's like, this is going to work. And like, they're freaking out. But anyway, so yeah, that day, I'm sure you can imagine just everything that happens just between random Slytherins finally just running up to, yeah, I think like all the first and second year Slytherins were like, you know what, like we don't have anything against, we're like, we don't care. But they came up to them and they're just like, you know what, fine, we love and appreciate you regardless of our differences, whatever. But then a lot of the Ravenclaws, ended up petting the Raven, but a lot of them were like, I think this is funny. Like, let's just keep like the stripes. They're like, who's forcing us to do this? Like, I want to stay my random colors. I think it's funny. But by the end of the night, like at dinner, the Hufflepuffs are already ready. They're like on stage. Yes, they like go up to the front table, and I guess now they play ABBA, and they're like, okay, here it is, and it's like weirdly fantastic. Yes, it's just like too good. But yeah, they do it, and it's great, and all of their their spells come off. But honestly, they're kind of upset. They're like, that was kind of fun. Like I don't know, but they did it. But the one house that like most of the people have not done it is Gryffindor, because that takes a full 24 hours, and it hasn't been a full 24 hours. And also, none of them have shut up yet, except for like a couple. But and Slytherin,
some of them just have like their mouths like taped
yes.
shut.
It's not worth it. I don't know if I would not talk for 24 hours.
Not talk for. It's literally just one day. Like, I feel like that's fine.
Yeah, that's
Still,
the whole day.
Imagine if you made it the whole day and then you like slept talked.
Oh no! Oh my goodness.
Suck.
Yeah, I feel like it would be fine.
I would just take it. Forever.
My goodness. But yeah, but also none of the Gryffindors really care. They're like, this is funny. This is like our house, like did it and everything like that. But anyway.
Yeah, we won the cup.
Yeah.
Cool.
But anyway, so like, over the next couple of days, the freaking hospital wing is just like overrun because everybody's like, Madame Pomfrey, you have to have like a way to get rid of this. And she just doesn't. She's like, I have no idea what to do. She's like testing random things. Nothing is working. Like all of the professors are trying to help students that don't want to do it, and everything like that. And none of it's working. And so then,
so lame if you try to like go to the nurse to get out of
I know.
I can't do it.
I know.
Good. You don't deserve to change that.
Literally. But the best thing that they could do is that McGonagall made the Marauders like stay like in a public area of the castle so that the Slytherins could come up to them and like tell them this. And it became like a forum. Like I think they all had chairs and stuff, and there were like lines forming. It was really great. They really enjoyed it. But the two best were Regulus and Snape having to do this, because Snape did it. Snape was just angry. Snape was just mad.
Love and appreciate it.
Snape is just like, this is the worst thing that could ever happen to me. But Regulus, Sirius decided to tell Regulus, he's like, listen, little brother, here's the thing. We actually made your spell different. And not only, he's like, you can't say it to anybody. You have to say it to me. You have to tell me that you love and appreciate me. And Regulus is like, oh my word. He's like, on top of that, you also have to give me a kiss on the cheek. It just has to happen. He's like, or else your spell will not be lifted. And Regulus is like, I'm not, he's like, there's no way that that's real. He's like, do you want to take the chance and have to like do it twice? And he's like, I guess not. And he's like, you need to give me a kiss on the cheek and do it. And it's like in front of like all of his friends.
And his is like as dramatic as like Sirius and Martin's like breakup.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I just think he was just like, I love and appreciate you, Sirius. And Sirius is like, thank you so much. I love you too so much. And it's just so amazing.
And afterwards he's like, your spell wasn't different.
Yeah. He's like, your spell was not any different from anybody else's. I just wanted to mess with you. And he's like, I literally hate you so much. But yeah. So that's kind of
That's
fun.
something Michael would do to me.
I do. I like to tell like little kids lies
He
that they
loves
believe.
to do it.
Oh, like what? Give us an
Okay,
example.
can I actually tell a story?
Yes, you can.
I tell the story all the time, but it
yeah,
was
he does.
I'm ready.
I must have been
Yeah,
like
the flu.
5. I was sick. And
Oh,
I think it was like the flu. I was laying on the couch. And then Michael comes over and he's like, "Did you know if you fall asleep, you'll die?" And I believed it, and it was scary.
It was funny.
Why would you do that? Literally, why?
It's so funny because
Emma.
they like little kids are
Camera?
so gullible.
Oh my gosh, Michael, that's literally so mean.
It's
That one
But it's
is a
very
meaner
funny.
one, but some of them are that mean. Yeah.
Please give me another example. I do
I'm
want
trying to
hear
think of
You
what
told that
would
lots
be.
of
one
weeks.
time you were just like
I know it's just like
to like our little cousin that you were like, guys, there's this one creature called the mantelope we have to find. And then
Not
everyone
the
was like
mantelope.
chasing
I was
our
like,
other
"It'll
cousin
sneak
around.
up on you and kill you in the night."
But they were just like, we're gonna go catch one. Like they were
But it was at like one of our like lake houses.
they were
And
just like
there was,
chasing
like,
our cousin,
4
yeah.
cabins, and there was like a bunch of little kids, and you just told to all of them, so just all these little
Did
kids
you
were
know?
just running around the property.
They were like, the mantelope! It was
so
literally
funny.
like the bloody handprint.
Yeah, and they had like sharp sticks as well.
They were like, we're getting it.
That's so funny.
They were having a good time.
I bet they were. That sounds great. Okay. Anyway, last little scene. End of the night. Finally, it's like been like a full day of this, like a full day of like classes and stuff with like all of this happening. But then McGonagall is like, okay, guys. She's like, she finally has like time to like pull aside the Marauders and be like, listen, I know it was you, like everything that's happening. So she tries to, but Remus is like, none of the others were involved. It was just me. I did this whole thing single-handedly. And she's like, no, you didn't. And he's like, maybe I did. Like, you don't know. But
You
he's
know what I
like,
bet happens? 'Cause
what?
She's funny. I bet she'd be like.
Did you just read this because you were looking over here?
I was looking to see how many pages.
Oh, no.
You can't really
It's
read it. from
literally
there,
that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Anyway, continue. What do you think's gonna happen?
But I was like, I bet because McGonagall is like, you know, she always gives like weird punishments that you like don't
Mhm.
expect. I bet she like does the opposite of what he wants.
She's like, you have to be a prefect.
That's
No,
what I think.
yeah, literally, that's exactly what happens. You guys are absolutely correct. That's why I was like, I know that he's gonna say it. No, but yeah, he's like, it's completely my fault, like 1,000%.
He's like,
And
whoops.
and she's like, dude, you're a prefect. Like, you have to get it together. I expected better from you. He's like, I don't want to be a prefect. Can I please stop being a prefect? Like, you can take my badge. He's like, I don't care. And she just sits there for a while, and she's like, no, that's your punishment now. It's that you stay being a prefect. He's like, do I get a detention? Like, anything? She's like, nope. It's
Why,
like, that's
why
the
would
whole
you ask
thing.
that? Why would you be like, do I get a detention? Shut up.
But yeah, so the whole thing was basically for nothing in Remus's case. And yeah, that's basically the end of the episode.
He knows a lot of Slytherins love and appreciate him.
Yeah, we're very grateful for that, you know? I feel like for the next week, they were like, whenever like any of the Slytherins said anything bad, they're like, wow, I thought we were different because
thought you loved
literally
and
last week I literally thought you loved and appreciated me, you know? It was, yeah, I think it's great.
Can I ask you a question
Of
really
course
quick
you can.
about Harry Potter?
Of course
Because I
you
know
can.
you're a super fan.
Mhm.
So when it comes to like fandoms, when I was like in 6th grade, I like read the books and watched the movies of Harry
Mhm.
Potter, right? But I haven't probably watched them that much since, like maybe
Yeah.
1 or 2. But I'm a big fan of like Lord of the Rings. Is
Okay.
my fandom instead of
Yeah.
Harry Potter. And there's some things that people will be like, ask these questions that you can tell they like have not read the books because they ask this question. They'll be like, why didn't you just fly the eagles into Mordor and drop the ring into the volcano? And like, I can tell you have not read the books or you know like almost nothing about it because that is obviously not true.
Yes.
Are there things in Harry Potter where you're like, people always ask this, like, why did they just do this? And you're like, that is so obviously not true and I have to get this off my chest right now.
Kind of, yeah. There's some things that work like that, but also a lot of people criticize it because they're like, well, if it's magic, then you can just do this. Like, a lot of people are like, if the killing curse exists, like, that would mean, like, every fight is, like, obsolete. And I'm like, I don't think that's how it works. I think you, like, have to, like, use a lot of physical energy in
Like,
order
it
to
takes
cast
it out
that
of
curse.
you.
But yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot of things like that where I'm like, I don't think you fully read and understood the books because
Right.
if you
It's
if
not
you
like,
think that.
whoops, like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
you're
not
done.
like Avada Kedavra, here you all go. Like, he literally Moody says at some point, he's like, you can't just point your wand and say the words. Like, that's not how it works. And so, like, when people will, like, I'll see a bunch of TikToks criticizing stuff like that, or, like, continuity errors, but then, like, they're wrong about it.
Yeah, oh, that happens all the time.
And they're like, they'll be like, well, listen, but this thing, and I'm like, but they explained it, like, later in the book, and did you just not see that part? You know, and stuff like that.
Just because they want to criticize because they watched the movie one time, they're like, oh, I know more than you know.
The movies is like, you gotta read the books in order to understand it. Yeah, anyway, how are we feeling after doing an episode? Did we enjoy it?
I'm feeling
I
good.
did.
I like your stuffed animals.
You're like, that was my favorite part.
You're like, I was not paying attention at all.
All right, are we done? Do we have anything else we want to say? All right.
Thanks, Ellie, for letting us come
Thanks.
on.
It was so fun.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, super
Well,
fun.
I forced you guys to show up at my house at like 9:30 in the morning, so I feel like I should be thanking you.
It's okay.
Thank you so much for watching and listening. Big shout out to Benji Wilson and Himalaya Black for the music and the cover art and all that lovely fun stuff. And thank you for all of you for being here. And that's pretty much it. Bye! All right, cool.
Woo.
That's it.
That was impressive, Ellie. Did you write all that last night?
Yes, and this morning.
So, an astounding number of you wanted to hear Michael rant about sushi for an incredibly long amount of time, so I decided to put it here at the end. So, please enjoy.
Because the first time I ever went, I didn't like it because I went with my girlfriend and she was like, this one has octopus in it, or this one has eel sauce. Like, do you think they
Eel
could have thought
sauce?
You think they?
You're
And
like,
she's like, what? It's eel sauce. Like, why is that weird? Like,
Oh my
really?
goodness.
Why is that weird? And so I just like didn't like it because it was all this gross stuff, and so I just ate grapes from the salad bar. And like
Just the grapes?
they have like soft serve ice cream too.
Oh my god.
The ice cream was good. I ate that.
Yeah, the last time I ate sushi, I immediately threw it up. I could barely swallow it. So I think it's safe to say that I don't like sushi.
Where do you get it?
I've been to several places, and I don't know. It's something about the scent of like raw fish. Like
Yeah.
my body just can't do it. Like literally, I want to try it, and it's just like.
Apparently, like Sushi King is bad sushi quality.
Okay.
So I'm sure people are gonna tell us that.
Okay.
But I think it's delicious. My bad quality sushi is like on Wednesdays at Publix. They have like $5 sushi days.
I don't
So
like
Discount sushi
It's
day.
not really that good. But
And then you always bring it home and no one eats it, so
Who
it just
wants it?
gets gross in the fridge.
That sounds so nasty.